It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
Coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Palagero. It's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening. Whenever you're listening, whenever you're watching, hope you're doing all right today. Special shout out to all of our viewers on Fight TV, on Holyfield Television Network, all of our radio stations across U.S. and Canada. Everybody watching live on streams, whether it be YouTube or our Facebook Live, our experimental Facebook Live. Don't forget, if you are watching on Facebook, you're not getting a full video experience. Check it out over on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkinboxing. That's TALKINBOXING. And a special shout out to WGIG in Brunswick, Georgia. Glad to have you all with us today. Today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant located on beautiful St. Simons Island in Georgia. Check out the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com, or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. Find out why I go all the way to St. Simons Island to get a decent Italian meal. You know, it's no joke either. It's worth the trip. And speaking about worth the trip, what a great segue as we're bringing who the show is brought to us by today. How about the Sea Palms Resort and our next Billy C boxing event? It's being held August 25th and 26th at the Sea Palms. We are going to have some celebrities there, including former world champions Bobby Ches, Mike Weaver, to name a few. Renowned trainer out of Tampa, Sherman Henson, will join us. We got more people that will be filling you in on. What are we doing? Well, we're going to be hanging out, and we're going to be doing a meet and greet. You get to hang out and have some hors d'oeuvres with the celebs. You get to play in a golf outing, all for fun, of course. You get to watch the fight, the farce, which we'll get into a little bit later, McGregor-Mayweather. You get to watch that. You also get to be part of a live audience on the next filming of Billy C's Boxing Revisited. All that stuff. Make sure you come on down and hang out with Sal and I at the Sea Palms. Visit our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the Sea Palms to get the info and make your plans now. And finally, today's show is being brought to us in part by my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage, The Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold. And you can literally get a copy while you're watching or listening to the show. All you got to do is visit barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. Or if you want a signed copy, just come on over to billycboxing.com. One other note here. If you are into communicating and getting some of your thoughts talked about on air, just come on over to the chat room in billycboxing.com. I know there's a lot of other chat rooms, including, I try to respond in Facebook, but I know there's other chat rooms and stuff like that going on. But the one that we really monitor is up on billycboxing.com. Coming up a little bit later on the show, we got the Boxing Hall of Famer and New Jersey Boxing Commissioner Larry Hazzard scheduled to join us. Also, Alex Pierpaoli, my man, will be stopping by and presenting this week's Blast from the Past, which features a former world champion and Boxing Hall of Famer, Floyd. No, it doesn't begin with an M. It's Floyd Patterson. That's who we'll be talking about, Floyd Patterson, a class act from top to bottom. And we'll be talking about him. And speaking about the other Floyd, Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor held their first circus court yesterday. And I got some quotes. I got some emails to read, all that stuff. But first, joining me now from St. Simons is my man Sal Rocky Senecola. What's up, Sal?
Bill, good morning. I'll tell you, I must have too much time on my hands through that intro. I just gave you a pair of glasses on my cup.
There you go.
You can see them.
There you go. I need the glasses. I mean, I do wear them. I do wear them. I just don't wear them. Unless I'm driving. Because I can't. It's weird what I need. But anyway, the Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor circus show started yesterday.
Yeah.
And I tell you the truth. Some of the comments that were made, and I, as always, when I talk about Floyd Mayweather, anybody new to the show, I got to start off by saying I'm not a big fan of Floyd. And if you've been listening to this show for any length of time, you know that. And, one of the reasons I'm not has nothing to do with, his actions in the ring. But mostly has to do with him, the human being, and the fact that, in my opinion, we never even got to see the best Floyd Mayweather because of his safety first. But, the thing that bothers me, and it really became crystal clear yesterday during the first hype train, is that Floyd has been an expert at bamboozling his fans, his most loyal fans, the fans that shell out the money and support him. Now, there's many, many people that shell out the money because they don't like him and they want to see him lose. But let me read you some quotes from Floyd, and I want to get your opinion. He says, some guys play it safe. He's talking about people that fight him. Some guys play it safe, and then there's some guys like Marcos Maidana who go in for the kill. I think referring to McGregor, I think he's the Maidana type. He's a heavy hitter, so I got to be cautious. This is basically going to be a toe-to-toe battle.
What?
That's the exactly. That's the first comment that I want to get your thoughts on, because I don't know about you, Sal. But Floyd Mayweather has never been in a toe. I can't, at least for the last 10 years. When has he been in a toe-to-toe battle? The guy doesn't exchange. It's one of the reasons I don't like watching his fights. They're boring to me. What's your thoughts on that comment?
Well, I think it's something to aspire to and fantasize about. But and you know what? There's nothing better I'd like to see than a toe-to-toe brawl with McGregor and Mayweather. Eminem will call it. But the truth of the matter is that's not going to happen. We're not going to see that kind of exchange between these two combatants. Did I say combatants? Yes, I did. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a one-sided fight. I think, McGregor's only chance, like I said, is at the bell running over to his corner, just manhandling Floyd, throwing him into the ropes, into the corner. You do that in boxing anyway. You use your hands or whatever you could do, and just pound away on him and just wade through any punches he's trying to do and keep him in one spot. But Floyd's never going to be there for him to do that because Floyd is going to move around the ring, and that's fine. That's his style. Floyd's smart. He knows what he has to do to beat this guy on Floyd's terms.
I don't know.
I give him credit.
I don't know if he's too smart. I really don't. I don't think Floyd is smart as he thinks. I don't think Floyd is as smart as people think. Let me give you some other quotes, because really the best part of this fight is going to be these press conferences, because that's about the most action
this is the hype. This is the exchange.
We're going to get more action out of Floyd Mayweather. During these press conferences that we're going to get inside the ring. He says, now, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, because we are on multiple platforms and specifically TV and radio, I can't use the exact words, but you're going to get the gist, all right? Floyd says, and I quote, "I don't give a F if it's a ring. I don't give a F if it's an octagon. Put me in there, and I'm going to kick his ass. I don't back down from no mother effing body. You line him up." I love this line. This is my favorite. "You line him up, and I knock him down like bowling pins. On August 26th, I'm going to knock this biatch out too. If you want 8-ounce gloves, let's put 8-ounce gloves on. If you want 4-ounce gloves, let's put 4-ounce gloves on. Don't fool the public. On August 26th, I'm knocking Conor out. He's going out on his face or on his back. Now, before I go on.
Yes.
First of all, the biggest fooling of the public guy is Floyd Mayweather, because we all know that he's the guy that set up all the demands. 8-ounce gloves, 4-ounce gloves. Floyd wouldn't fight unless he had the pillows on his hands. He wouldn't fight. Now I will say this: out of all of that stuff, my favorite line is, "You line him up, I knock him down like bowling pins." I just don't know when he's done that. His last knockout. I mean, come on, his last knockout was a sucker punch. Listen, I do believe, in all honesty, that he will knock out Conor McGregor, only because Conor McGregor is going to be so tired that, a fly lands on him and he's going to be knocked out. That's what Floyd's game plan has to be. He is not going toe-to-toe. He's not lining people up. No. He's not knocking them out. Who's actually buying into this BS, Sal?
I'll tell you, I want to see them line up, and hypothetically, like I said all along, let Floyd go into the ring before the Triple G and Canelo Alvarez fight. Let him challenge those guys. Let's let him put his money where his mouth is. Let them call him out right now. That would be unique. That would be a little sizzle away from the fire right now if Triple G and Alvarez made some kind of comments towards that. Well, we'll just wait and see if the guy who's going to line him up wants to really take on a real fighter after we leave the ring. But that's not going to happen. I know that. That's a fantasy.
Let me just read some more quotes before we.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
He said he alludes to. Now we all knew. We said this on yesterday's show. We said on yesterday's show that somebody was going to bring up the IRS issues. All right, and that's a whole nother joke about it. And actually, too bad we weren't recording our conversation before we went on air, but we hit it on the head. Unfortunately, we can't talk about that now. But, Mayweather alludes to the IRS reporting. He's going, give me the backpack. Give me the backpack. Give me that backpack. So one of his cronies grabbed the backpack, and he opens up, and he zips out, and he whips out a check. And he goes, he's showing this. He goes, he says, "Let me show you, mother effers, what $100 million fighter look like. I still got $100 million. I ain't even touched this." And then he used another expletive. And he showed what it appeared to be $100 million check. Now, I tell you the truth, Sal, and I'm not suggesting that somebody did this for Floyd, but I'll be glad to write a check to you if you want it that says $100 million on it. I could write a check for $200 million. That doesn't mean I got the money in the bank to cover it.
No,
if I was Floyd, if I had $100 million check that I haven't cashed yet, I'd suggest that he goes and cash it and pay off the IRS. I mean, to me, that was. Let me just finish. He says, "We knew that I was the A side. That's why this biatch has to come to the boxing ring with me. He looks great for a 7-figure fighter. He looks great for an 8-figure fighter. But mother effer, I'm a 9-figure fighter. Y'all know what? This biatch made $3 million for his last fight. That's training camp money for me." It's become, and in all seriousness, Floyd Mayweather, yes, he's been successful charading around with his undefeated record and his cherry-picked opponents, et cetera, et cetera. But you know what? At the end of the day, Floyd Mayweather clearly has a legacy that, somebody's going to remember something about this guy. But but what he's doing now.
But I love the butt.
Yeah, here comes the butt. But what he's doing now, he's become a circus act. He's become a WWE act. I mean, is anybody believing this? Sal, is anybody believing this?
Well, you know what? Unfortunately, I think there are a handful that will, of course, Floyd's fans. But the bottom line is these guys got to promote a fight. Everyone who has a little foundation of boxing history realizes that this is a farce and not a fight. So they've got to sell the hype because they've got themselves on the hook here for a couple $100 million each that are going to be generated in revenue. So they've got to create and stimulate the interest on another level, because I know there's going to be the primary, the secondary, maybe the tertiary interest here, but it's not going to really. They're trying to sell it, is what I'm trying to say, Bill. They got to sell it. So, you know what? If they got to do WWE, they got to do MMA, they got to do boxing, whatever they got to do to sell it, they've got to sell it. And they should be verbally attacking each other leading up to what they're going to try and do in the ring. But the bottom line is, let them keep throwing the stuff against the wall and see what sticks. And so, but they're selling it. They're selling it. That's all this is. That's all the hype is. And that's what he's trying to do.
I just wonder what idiot's going to buy it. That's all. If you want to spend $100 on a pay-per-view, that's going to be basically a farce, a WWE event. I mean, if that's what you're paying, because listen, anybody that tried to tune into that press conference had to sit through music and all these accolades and Paulie Malignaggi actually trying to be technical of how the fight's got to be. It's a joke. It's a joke. That Conor McGregor said this. He's got little legs. He's got little hands. I'm going to knock him out inside of 4 rounds. Mark my words. Floyd will be unconscious inside of 4 rounds. The power and ferociousness that I have, he's never experienced it before. I don't fear him. Floyd's just talking SH, and there's a T at the end. There's an I in there, too. I mean, the truth of the matter is that, if you want to give Conor McGregor any chance, the best chance he's got is that when Floyd goes out, when the bell rings to start the first round, that he actually trips and falls and knocks himself out on the canvas, because I don't think Conor McGregor has a shot in hell to win this fight. I really don't. And Sal, I hold that thought because, we got this stupid break schedule we got to fulfill. So let me take a quick break. Hold that thought. Little hands, little feet, I'm going to knock him out. Hold that thought. We'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening and watching the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And speaking of being with us, with me now is my man Sal Rocky Senecola. And Sal, before we went to break, I gave you Conor McGregor's quotes. I don't know what else to say. I mean, this is a smokescreen, and I honestly believe that Floyd. People always. Joe Louis was one of the greatest fighters of all time, and
Sure.
I mean, there's no question about that. And a lot of people remember the end of Joe Louis, not so much the real end when they wheeled him out and he passed away, but the end when he was doing wrestling, WWE stuff, and the harder they fall shows that, and I mean. It's happened in the past. Floyd Mayweather, all of a sudden, to me, is not in the WWE, but he's certainly acting like it with this event and fight and all that stuff. Your thoughts?
Well, like I said, he's selling it. He's promoting it. He's got to create the interest in it. And, Ed McGregor, like I said, I'd be contradictive and a hypocrite if I didn't say any given night. We really don't know what's going to be evolving here. I mean, we can see what we'd like to say and see on paper, black and white. Floyd Mayweather shouldn't even be touched by this guy. And he'll be moving, he'll be defensive, he'll be offensive when he can, when he's out of range. And I think that he should clearly beat this guy in a dominant fashion and to make this guy look like an amateur that he is, because he's never fought professionally. But the bottom line is this guy's got a shot. If he ran across the ring and waded through Floyd's little fluff punches and trapped him and threw him in a corner and just started pounding on his arms all over the place and not let Floyd breathe or give him a chance to escape, you could see something happening. But is that going to happen? No, the odds are that Floyd will never be in that position because he will not allow that to happen, because Floyd is a very smart, calculating fighter. He'll dissect and come up with a style that he can troubleshoot and offset his opponent's strengths.
Yeah, he's going to run. Listen, it's not going to be a fight. It's not going to be a fight. Anybody that wastes their money on, I just think that Floyd, people are going to. I tell you what. I use this analogy all the time. All of a sudden, my blood pressure's starting to go, right? I use this analogy all the time.
Calm down, relax.
I use this analogy all the time. You think of all time. I got somebody in the Facebook, telling me Floyd's going to be number one. He bought into he drank the Kool-Aid. Whatever. I think he's been hit too many times. But anyway, the truth of the matter is that, Floyd Mayweather, when you look at Floyd, you're gonna see this. The analogy I use all the time is, think of a great fighter. Let me throw a name, and you close your eyes, and automatically some great fights will pop into mind. Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson, Marvin Hagler, Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano, even Manny Pacquiao. Arturo Gotti. You mention a name, and Iran Barkley. B-Hop, Oscar De La Hoya. You mention a name, Mike Tyson, and a fight will pop into your mind that you remembered. Oh my God, did you see Mike Tyson knock out so and so, or Jack Dempsey, destroying this guy, or so on and so forth. Sugar Ray Robinson, all those 6 fights with Jake LaMotta. You mentioned Floyd Mayweather. What comes to mind? He was wearing a hat that had 48 on it yesterday. He was wearing a tracksuit. He had all his cronies around. I mean, do you remember a fight? Does it stick out?
The only fight I remember is Pacquiao.
And the reason, and why do you remember it, Sal?
Because Pacquiao said he had a hurt shoulder.
No, you remember it. You remember it because it was anticlimactic. Floyd Mayweather's whole career will be remembered as anticlimactic. Okay, and the thing is this, now, and the reason why I think that Floyd Mayweather's legacy is being tarnished with this fight is because the fight that people are going to remember is this fight, Conor McGregor. Now, should Conor McGregor land this lucky punch that he claims he's going to, which I don't think he will, Floyd Mayweather, just like you said, and I agree with you, will be too defensive-minded. He's going to pull a Muhammad Ali against George Foreman. He's going to let Conor McGregor tire himself out. He's never even gone close to 4 or 5 rounds. And then he's going to go in for the kill, and he's probably going to get the knockout, which I think he will. But the truth of the matter is that's going to be the fight people remember. And the part of this, and you and I talked about this off air, the biggest fault of this fight is the Nevada State Athletic Commission for allowing it to count as a real fight. This fight, I would be the first guy in line to see it live if it were an exhibition. But counting as a real fight is a travesty to all the other fighters that have worked so hard, and to all the young fighters today that are in the gym working hard. For the Nevada State Athletic Commission to be bought out like they were, Bob Bennett, you should be ashamed of yourself, you little punk. It's a shame that they let this happen, Sal.
It is. Did Bob Bennett ever write you back?
No, he never did. He's a punk.
Okay.
He's a punk.
Okay.
He shouldn't be in a position like that. And anybody that gives credence to the broadcast crew, and thanking them for putting them on TV is no one in a position to run a commission. We're going to have Larry Hazzard come up here in a couple of minutes, and there's a strong guy that knows how to run a boxing commission. But anyway, what's your thoughts?
Like I said off air, I think the whole Nevada State Athletic Commission should really be ashamed and should really look at the whole historical aspect of boxing and the whole thing that they're doing here to allow this fight to even happen. I will recall what Bobby Ches told me. Very smartly, he did say, Sal, how the commission is probably looking at this is these are both striker sports, and that's how they're getting it in and then validated under the flag of boxing, sanctioned boxing. But it's a farce, just like it would be if Floyd Mayweather went into an MMA arena. What's going to happen? Well, if Conor McGregor didn't carry him, he's going to destroy him. He'll destroy him. I mean, he'll kill him. So why should it be that different with Conor McGregor entering the field of boxing? It's not. And it's just something that I really wish the commissioner looked at very closely and didn't approve of it as being a sanctioned boxing match that's going to count on Floyd's record or anything else. It should have been an exhibition. It should have been a nice little union, a nice little time where we could have been promoting it and talking about it and seeing what's going to happen with it, some anticipation.
Well, let me tell you something. An exhibition would have made everybody happy. Nevada could have got their money. Floyd could have got his money. Conor could have got his money, and everything's cool. And let's just make something perfectly clear to all the ignorant young fans out there that are putting so much value in this 50th win that Floyd will get. 49-0. Rocky Marciano's record was significant for heavyweights.
That's
no
right.
heavyweight has ever won 49 fights in a row. None to this day.
No.
But many fighters have surpassed 50-0 before losing their first fight. Julio Cesar Chavez is the first name that comes to mind. What was it? 80 fights before he
80 fights.
I mean, the 49-0 is nothing. The significance were heavyweight. I give Floyd credit for turning the tables and bamboozling the young fan base to think that that's a record. And here's the other thing. If Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. retired after he was 70-0, we would have never seen him fight 100 pro fights. We would have never seen him win 100 pro fights. He was tested, and he challenged himself on a regular basis. Floyd's not doing that. For anybody that thinks that Floyd's the only guy to ever have won 50 in a row, you're mistaken. You're mistaken. The record came out because of Rocky Marciano and the significance in the heavyweight division. And the same goes true, while I'm on it, the same goes true for the pound-for-pound list. That was made because of Sugar Ray Robinson. They were trying to give him credit because at that time, everyone cared only about the heavyweights. And pound-for-pound list was created. Now, people have the audacity to even put heavyweights on a pound-for-pound list, which shouldn't be the case. A pound-for-pound list should be, hey, if a guy is small, he can't physically fight in a heavyweight division, but if he could take all of his attributes and move to an up or down division, is he still as good? My greatest example of that was Klitschko. Vladimir Klitschko dominated the heavyweight division for nearly a decade. But that's because of his size, his arm reach, his advantages like that. If you make him a welterweight, now all of a sudden he's fighting the same guys, same weight. Does he dominate for a decade? The answer is no. The answer is no. But if you take a guy, and I'll take a guy like Manny Pacquiao. You take a guy, Manny Pacquiao in his prime, a fighter that, in all those different weight classes, move him up to heavyweight, give him the same hand speed and all the attributes that he had on the smaller weights in his prime, and does he still destroy heavyweights? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. So and the same thing with Floyd. If he was a heavyweight, is his defensive skill the same? If it is the same, does he win heavyweights? Yeah, he's a pound-for-pound fighter. Is he the greatest? No. And speaking of Manny Pacquiao, just so you know, he didn't get paid either, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's out there saying that, Freddie Roach, should know that he didn't get paid either, and he threw the blame up on Bob Arum. So Bob Arum hasn't paid anybody yet. So that's a fiasco. I mean, the two biggest names, how sad is it when the two biggest names in boxing for the last 10 years, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, have both come down so far. Floyd Mayweather fighting a guy from MMA in a WWE type fight, and Manny Pacquiao still not getting paid after losing to a subpar opponent. It's wow. Man, have things fallen, huh?
Wow, they have. I'll tell you what, the battle was open, man. I'll tell you, this is well, I was going to say another black eye on boxing, but these guys should be paid. I mean, I can understand if he's counting the receipts and seeing what's coming in as far as revenue, so he doesn't sign a blank check. But I know Bob Arum has to have this money, and the bottom line is these guys got to get paid. And I wonder if Jeff Horn got paid.
Probably. Hey, listen, Sal, you're going to have some time on your hands because we're going to take a break right now. I'm going to get Larry Hazzard on the line. So take your break, fill your coffee, and we'll talk to you in a bit.
I will, buddy. You take care and tell Mr. Hazzard I said hello.
I certainly will.
I'll listen. Thank you.
We'll be back
take care,
in a
buddy.
bit.
Bye-bye.
That's Sal Rocky Senecola. He'll be back in a few. Meanwhile, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, Larry Hazzard's scheduled to join us. Don't go nowhere.
Billy C will be right back.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
This message is for all Americans that owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS. Look, I know you want to keep ignoring those letters, but the problem isn't going away. It's really stressful, and you don't know where to turn.
The good news is you have rights, and we can help resolve your IRS problems.
If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, our qualified CPAs, tax negotiators, and support staff know the law and know how to get your situation under control legally and permanently.
Call the number on your screen now and we will contact the IRS on your behalf, help you end wage garnishments, stop collection calls, remove tax liens, get rid of IRS and state tax penalties, and reduce the amount you owe if you qualify. You wouldn't go to fix your car without going to a mechanic, so why face the IRS without an experienced company that can help you?
Let us take the stress of back taxes and the IRS off your shoulders so you can spend time on the important things in your life, like your family or your business. If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, call now and find out how we can help you.
Have you heard? Proactive Plus is faster and better than ever. Stay tuned for a 1,000,000 bottle giveaway, and you'll also receive free shipping. Do you have troubled skin? Acne? Well, we have great news. With Proactive Plus, your acne can heal, and you can help prevent new breakouts from happening. Don't miss this limited time offer. Give us a call at 800-567-0214 because we're going to let 1 million people try Proactive Plus risk-free and get 2 free gifts and also receive free shipping when you call right now. You heard it. This offer won't last long. So call Proactive Plus now and you'll receive a 60-day risk-free trial of Proactive Plus, 2 free extras, and free shipping. Call 800-567-0214. This is our exclusive radio offer, never on TV. Get your risk-free 60-day trial of Proactive Plus with free shipping. That's right, free shipping. Don't wait. Call 800-567-0214. That's 800-567-0214.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And speaking of being with us, joining me right now is Boxing Hall of Famer and New Jersey Boxing Commissioner and my man, Larry Hazzard. What's up, Larry?
Morning, Billy. How you doing?
Good. I had some stuff to talk to you about, but I guess unfortunately we're going to have to talk about the circus that took place yesterday in out west. Did you get a chance to watch it, or did you promise yourself not to be subjected?
I watched a little bit.
All right. Well, let me say this. Obviously we all know it's a big show and all of that, and I can't believe they're actually trying to talk about this. Paulie Malignaggi acting like he's trying to be this is what so and so's got to do to win and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, I can't get past the fact that Floyd is trying to, and McGregor too, they're trying to sell it like this is going to be a real fight. Floyd says, put people up. I've been doing it for 21 years, put people in front of me and I knock them down like bowling pins. I'm saying to myself, what fights is he talking about? I mean, I could go back 10. The last knockout, if I'm not mistaken, was Victor Ortiz, and I personally felt that Joe Cortez almost got the guy killed for losing control. What's your full take on this circus?
I think that they're just doing what they feel is necessary to do to get people interested and buy it. Obviously, if the fight is taking place, I would think that they feel that there's a big market for it, but maybe they're starting to have second thoughts on it. I don't know. But I'm going to tell you, Billy, it's really going to take a lot for me. I'd rather just give $100 to charity because they say that it's $100. I was taken in by that Pacquiao fight with Mayweather, which I kept telling myself, even before that fight, how it was going to end, how it was going to be very boring, how it was going to come nowhere near what people were expecting. And, of course, I was right, along with a lot of other people on that one. On this one, anything can happen. We always know that in a fight. But the odds are so lopsided with this McGregor guy coming from the world of MMA, using boxing rules in a boxing ring, going 12 rounds. Well, MMA bouts are most 5 rounds at the most. But for most, they're like 3 rounds fights. This guy, in my opinion, is making a big show with the press conference and all of the other stuff to, make people feel that he does have a chance. I don't see him having any chance with Mayweather. I'm thinking that this fight is going to be, you remember when Ali fought the Japanese guy? Everybody was all hyped up on it. The guy laid on the canvas and kicked him in the back of his legs for like 15 rounds. Well, all I see McGregor doing is running around the ring, Floyd trying to get him to fight, and maybe a few exchanges here and there, and more running. It's going to be very, very hard for me to shove out $100 to watch this, Billy. I'm being very honest about it.
Well, that's why you're going to come down and join us at our event that weekend, because we're going to show it so you don't have to shell out $100. But wait a minute. You said, I think it's the other way around. I think McGregor's going to be running, chasing Floyd, trying to get him to fight, and Floyd is going to be picking his shot. I think, realistically, I think that this fight is going to end similar to Ali Foreman. I think that Floyd Mayweather is going to let Conor McGregor come at him, throw his haymakers. Conor McGregor, just like you said, has never been, past 5 rounds. Have this guy totally spent, gassed, and by the 6th round, Floyd is going to get a knockout because Conor McGregor is going to be knocking himself out from fatigue. And I think that this fight will end with Floyd getting a knockout. I do believe that that will happen, but I don't give Conor McGregor much of a chance. I mean, would it suit me to see him, knock Floyd down just for the effect? Yeah, I would. But I don't think that Conor McGregor has a chance. I really don't. And it's a payday. And like I said, Larry, if this was an exhibition, I'm all for it. I'm all for it 100%. But I don't like the fact that the Nevada State Athletic Commission has approved it as a real fight. They're putting Conor McGregor, in all intent and purposes, in danger by fighting a future Hall of Famer, a 49-0 guy, and this is his pro debut. I don't care how many MMA fights he's had.
Well, I agree with you on that. I really do, in terms of the fight itself. If it was an exhibition, I would be a little bit more enthusiastic about it. I think that it would be more forthright being an exhibition. But to try to make this appear as though it's going to be a competitive boxing event, I just don't buy into it. We thought that Buster Douglas didn't have a chance against Mike Tyson. I mean, nobody gave him a chance, and we saw what happened. But I don't think that there's a chance of that. At least Buster was a fighter, a boxer. And I just don't see that happening in this event. I really don't. So I think you got a bunch of people who just are well-wishers, hoping, and they see this as MMA versus boxing, I guess. Okay, but I see it nothing more than a sideshow that has garnered enough attention to generate a lot of money for both of these guys.
Well, there's no doubt that there's a lot of money, and I agree with you 100%. This is MMA against boxing, and that's why I think they will do okay with the pay-per-view. I believe that the majority of the people that are going to shell out the Benji for that would be the MMA fans, because, should he win, should Conor McGregor, like you said, pull a Buster Douglas and win and upset Floyd Mayweather, that is so beneficial to the sport of MMA. Forget about Conor McGregor. It really elevates the sport of MMA immensely should he beat Floyd Mayweather. Now, most of us don't give him a chance. But, on the other side of the coin, the millions of people that bought Mayweather-Pacquiao or Mayweather-Oscar de la Hoya, et cetera, the boxing people, the boxing public, or even the casual fan that bought it because it was an event, that's the question mark I have. Are the boxing fans going to buy it? Even the Floyd Mayweather diehard fans, the ones that believe all of his BS, the ones that make him the best of ever and all these things, are they going to shell out the money? Because let's face it, Larry, there's a lot of people that buy Floyd Mayweather fights because they're hoping that he's going to lose. I don't even think those people are going to try to buy this one because they're not giving McGregor much of a chance. I mean, do you think it's going to break the records like they're saying?
No, I don't. But again, I say that very typically because, fans are strange. They're strange animals. Even though you get taken once, somehow, with the right gift of gab, real fans, they get taken again, because there's always that chance that this thing turns out to be something that none of us expect it to be. But I just can't see it. But I don't see the fans falling for it, really, Billy. In my circle, there's not a whole lot of talk about this. Every now and then somebody would bring it up, but I'm not really feeling the enthusiasm. And maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not really feeling the enthusiasm that there was for Pacquiao. Let's just take the Pacquiao Mayweather. Even though, diehard boxing guys like us, we kind of already knew what was the outcome and the type of fight it was going to be, and we were right on that one. We were. It was boring as hell. You felt like you had got taken for the money, okay? But it was what it was. But this time around, I just don't even feel that. I don't feel that enthusiasm. I don't feel that level of anticipation. Maybe it'll happen later on as we get closer to the date. But right now, I don't feel it. I don't feel it like I did when they announced Pacquiao Mayweather. And the reason I keep using that example, they're predicting that this is going to be bigger. Well, if it's going to be bigger, there's going to have to be a major rush of enthusiasm and anticipation, as we go along. But right now, I just don't feel it, and I don't really think that it's going to live up to the expectations of some people. I really don't.
Well, when we looked at the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight, it was a fight that we all wanted, 5-6 years earlier. It was a fight that had significance in the sport of boxing. It was a fight that took two guys that were parallel in their careers for quite some time and finally put them in the ring together. The delays that took place prior to making that fight happen, you could say it was this guy's fault, that guy's fault, whatever. But at the end of the day, we finally got to see the fight. Unfortunately, it didn't live up to expectations. A lot of times they never do. And aside from all of that, nothing really was clarified because, Pacquiao with the excuses about my shoulder, then the Pacquiao fans actually to this day think that he won the fight, and I'm saying, listen, I mean, it's ridiculous, so there's still question marks there. This fight doesn't answer anything except how strong how strong is the buying power of an MMA fan. I think it's going to boil down to that. The MMA fans want this fight. Diehard boxing fans, every single one of them I've talked to thinks this fight is a farce. It is a farce. They can spin it and try to sell it any which way, but it's a farce. And I think that's what bothers me the most. If you come out and say, the old saying, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and water runs off the back like a duck, it's a duck, And, I think I would have been more acceptable of this fight if it was an exhibition. I would be all for it. It would be interesting. And you made the comparison with the Ali against the all-time great Japanese wrestler Inoki. The difference in that fight, which I give Ali credit for, and those kicks were real. They were hurting him. Ali won, of course. But, Floyd had everything in his favor for this fight. The only credit I give Conor McGregor, aside from him making the money that he set out to make, is that he's crossing over and he's going to fight everything that Floyd laid out. His size ring, his location, his size gloves, etc., etc., etc. He made no... Floyd made no consolation. And now, when you sprinkle in all the publicized IRS problems that Floyd has, which How many times have you heard that, Larry? I mean, forget Floyd. Every fighter. If he's so smart, why isn't he, or why isn't he surrounding himself? These guys around him don't care about Floyd. They're milking him and robbing him right while he's looking. And to me, if Floyd's so smart, why doesn't he realize that? If he's so smart saying, well, I don't want to take a beating, I'm safety first, I don't want to be brain dead. Yeah, you're smart for that. But what about the other part of it? He manages his career. He makes all the choices. Well, then at the end of the day, I don't ever want to hear Floyd say, oh, this guy robbed me, that guy misled me. Don't say it, because he's the guy doing it. And all this money from Conor McGregor is going to pay off taxes that he owes from 2 years ago. He's going to be in the same boat 2 years from now with this fight. And the other funny thing is, he's throwing a check around in front of the press conference yesterday. Here's a $100 million check. I don't need it so much. I didn't even cash it. I was saying earlier, Larry, why don't you stick it in the bank and pay the IRS? Because they're never going to let go, man. Just talk to Joe Louis, right? Well, why is he doing that?
The more things change, the more they stay the same. It makes you think back to generations, past, with fighters that made millions of dollars, which is probably pretty close, if not equal, to the money that Floyd makes today. 2 or 3 or 4 decades ago, $1 million, man, was like, wow, And so, it's just a mentality. And what you're saying is absolutely correct. You're so smart, man. Well, first off, you're so smart. Why do you even owe the IRS?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That shouldn't even be a topic of conversation. But something I would like to just touch on. You said about giving McGregor all the credit for accepting all of the platform as it is. It's all boxing related, all in Floyd's favor, at least. Looking at it from our perspective. But he had no choice, really, for the money, that's why he did it. And that brings up a very interesting thing about MMA, which I think, even though we right here in New Jersey, we gave MMA a major boost when it was starting out, I really think that MMA has bottomed out now. The major stars of MMA, they pretty much have dissipated. They're gone. With the defeat of the young lady, Ronda Rousey, that took a lot out of the sport. And now you got Conor McGregor, who possibly is the face of the sport at this point, moving on to boxing for a major payday. And that's something that I pointed out to a number of so-called MMA fans, is that boxing still, a major boxing event, still is 3 or 4 times larger than the biggest MMA event that you could promote. The MMA fighters, I think at this point, have reached their limit in terms of payout money, the purses, So I think that's what's happening now, is that Conor McGregor and many, or whatever's left, Conor McGregor's in the sport of MMA, will all be looking to move on, perhaps to challenge, in the big arena of boxing for the paydays. So, it really doesn't say that much for the sport of MMA. And that, in my opinion, is why Conor McGregor was so accepting of everything that Floyd Mayweather wanted, going into the bout. So it's really, that's what makes it really more so a boxing event and a professional, perhaps the greatest fighter of his era, fighting against someone, who really doesn't have a chance of winning. Because he won't be able to just demonstrate or display any of his MMA skills in this event. That's what makes it such a farce, in my opinion.
Is the sport of MMA, the problem is that it's a problem maybe for the fighters, but not so much for the league. The UFC, you're right. The UFC may have a salary cap, so to speak, with the fighters. But at the end of the day, they're the ones. It's like the NFL. They're the ones that are capping out and putting a limit on what the fighters can make. The UFC, right? So maybe you're right in a sense, but and they made it was the foresight of a guy like Dana White who formed the league and had these guys under control. Because should that not have been the case, should it have taken off and been like boxing, these guys would be in a much better position. At least I think, So you're right.
No,
maybe the power.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying maybe the power and the stranglehold that the UFC league has on its fighters, maybe that's starting to loosen a bit. As you see this, maybe this will open a door for other crossover fights. But again, I honestly believe that from a safety, the thing that bothers me, Larry, is everybody's always talking about the safety, and this isn't. To me, this is a safety issue. How do you let? And I go back to this same line all the time. How do you let a pro debut fighter, regardless of how exceptional and successful he was in his field of play, fight an established fighter? This isn't a. I mean, you could make an argument if he had an Olympic, career, if he had an amateur career where he's facing world level opposition, and you can make that argument. He hasn't, and I just always wonder, and I know you feel similar about, the ABC and all of this stuff. I mean, they prance around saying safety, and then you have a black and white situation in front of you. And everybody turns away and doesn't see clearly. I don't get it.
Billy, the ABC, you mentioned that. I'm glad this is a rare mention of the ABC, okay? The ABC is a joke, all right? All you have at the ABC is a conglomeration of all of the, all of the commissions don't even belong to the ABC now. You have 21 commissions, including New Jersey, who don't even participate in ABC activities because of the leadership and because of several issues coming out of their last convention relative to health and safety. And it's ironic that you mentioned that. When you hear boxing people, administrators, power brokers talk about health and safety, that's a good soundbite, Billy. They, for the most part, they're not really concerned about health and safety. If they were, Billy, most commissions would have a uniform set of rules and regulations relative to health and safety. You still can go to so many states where fighters don't even need brain scans, where nurse practitioners examine fighters and the documents are accepted. They don't have to be examined by an MD. You still got states where they don't even have an ambulance present during bouts. So if somebody needs to be rushed to a hospital, there's still a chance that a fighter might die because there wasn't immediate EMTs on site to rush him to hospital. So this thing that you always hear, health and safety, even some referees, that's a good soundbite because people like to hear that. Like they, for so many years, talked about pensions for boxers. See, all of that sounds good, but there's never been a real intent of doing any of these things. Boxing, in many ways, still is in the dark ages when it comes to health and safety of the fighters. Just go through the research, you'll see. Take a poll of all the commissions, and you will be astonished at some of the medieval practices that still take place. So, this health and safety thing, it's just a bunch, for many, it's just a play on words, Billy. Believe me. Trust me.
Listen, I do, and I agree with you. And Next time I see you, I'll tell you a story about a commission when I was promoting. It's sad but true. But in any event, unfortunately, this circus is going to go on for a couple of weeks. But next time we'll have some stuff to talk about, like the World Boxing Super Series, which I love, and all those fights. I mean, very good, and I hope it helps the cruiserweight division because it's a division that I don't know why we don't have as much interest here in the States. But the only thing, and I'm out of time, I have less than a minute, but the only thing I wanted to ask you is, are you surprised that there's no American fighters involved in this World Boxing Super Series? And knowing that, these are all champions that are fighting each other, they're fighting whoever they put in, they're putting their belts on the line, et cetera, and out of the mix, there's no U.S. fighters. I mean, that kind of bothers me.
Yeah, well, I'm not really surprised that, we have to, try to find out why, I don't know why there are no American fighters involved in. Maybe, it comes back down to the money, too, at some point. And what role does the sanctioning organizations play in all of this in terms of their rankings and things of that nature? I don't know, Billy, but it is disappointing. I think that there are several American champions who would be very competitive in this World Series.
Yeah, no, it just gives me reason to believe that a lot of American fighters are not looking at the full picture, and their goal is, and I'm not going to knock them because their goal is to provide for themselves and their family. But at some point, even when a title is being dangled in front of you, and you choose not to go, the only thing that this series is showing us is that you don't have a choice at who you fight. And that is the problem with a lot of these guys, I think. They don't want to not be able to pick their opponent. And that says a lot if you read between the lines,
Yep.
Larry, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you talking about a subject I know you didn't really want to talk about. But hey, we put it behind us, right, my man? We'll talk about some other stuff. We got a lot of good fights this week, so we'll talk about some good fights next time, all right?
Okay, Billy.
All right, brother. Have a good day.
You too.
That's my man, Larry Hazzard. And trust me, I know that Larry is not keen on this fight, and I appreciate him giving us the time to discuss that. But in any event, listen, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, Blast from the Past, we're going to be talking about Floyd. No, not that Floyd. Floyd Patterson, former world heavyweight champion and boxing Hall of Famer. All coming up in 2. Don't go nowhere.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us today. And, we've been doing this now for 14 years. And one of the most appreciated and favorite segments that we've done is the one that we're going to be doing right now. It's the Blast from the Past. Today's Blast from the Past is being sponsored by the Title Bout Championship computer game. Get yourself a copy by visiting our website, BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the Title Bout banner. And also by KOFantasyBoxing.com. Sign up today. Visit the site, www.KOFantasyBoxing.com. Now, today's Blast from the Past features former World Heavyweight Champion and Boxing Hall of Famer Floyd Patterson. And joining us right now to tell us all about Floyd Patterson is my man Alex Pierpaoli. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Billy C. How are you?
I'm doing okay. We'll get to the other thing later in the week. But Floyd Patterson today.
I hope we could wrap him up because hopefully we could wrap him up like in 20 minutes so we could talk a little bit about Floyd versus McGregor.
Floyd. I love the line. They line him up and I knock him down like bowling pins. I'm like, I watch that and I go, what? Wait, is he talking about fighters? I mean, the last knockout guy he had was a sucker punch by Victor, right? Am I wrong? Did I miss one?
No, that was his last knockout.
All right. And I saw people saying, he's going to walk through him. Over on Facebook, they're saying he's going to walk through him like a Toro Gotti and everything else. And, he was bigger than a Toro Gotti. I mean, I don't know. Listen, Floyd is a talented fighter. I don't think we ever saw the best of him because of his safety first and his timely choosing of the opponents that do have names. And let's leave it at that. Let's talk about the other Floyd Patterson. This was a guy that very highly regarded and had the same kind of story that we always hear. Tell us about Floyd.
Oh, yeah, this is a great rags to riches story, and I thought they were finished, but I still hear the lawn service, but maybe they're not as close. But hopefully, our friends, the lawnmower, has to join us for the show every Wednesday morning. But yeah, Floyd Patterson, of course, he was Mike Tyson before Mike Tyson. Just as history repeats. Well, if you're somebody like myself who got into boxing during the Mike Tyson generation in the 80s, it seemed like, oh my God, this amazing story. This urchin, troubled youth from the streets of New York gets adopted by this white guy in upstate New York and taught how to box and becomes champion of the world. Well, it happened before, actually. D'Amato had done it. He actually did it twice. That's why people kind of believed him, part of why they believed him with Tyson when he said he had the goods, because he had done it once with Floyd Patterson. Floyd Patterson was born in Waco, North Carolina, January 4th, 1935. He was born third in a family of 11. And he had two older brothers, both of whom boxed, and he had an uncle who boxed. And that's how he actually got into the sport. Eventually they moved to New York, and he carried their bags to the gym, and he eventually got into the sport himself. Cus D'Amato was there at the Gramercy Gym on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. That's where he used to. That's where he got noticed by D'Amato, and he became a good amateur. He learned that Cus D'Amato style with the gloves up, up towards your chin, covering your face, and the bobbing and weaving, and the crouching sort of style. He was, they list him at 6 feet, but I thought he was a little shorter than that. I used to think he was I thought I had somewhere else written it was 5'11" and a half. I thought he was shorter than 6, but he's a small guy in terms of bulk too for a heavyweight. He actually fought as an amateur at middleweight and won the gold medal in Helsinki in 1952 with 5 straight knockouts. I think they were all knockouts. And he never weighed more than about 201 pounds. He came around 188, 190. He fought as a light heavyweight as a pro as well, but not a big guy, but he did pack pretty good pop.
The thing that amazes me about Floyd Patterson was exactly what you just said. This was a guy that wasn't very big. Now, granted, the heavyweight division was definitely different than it is today, and that's why a guy like Floyd Patterson was successful, because quite honestly, the way human beings are today, and specifically the way the heavyweight division is today, I don't believe that a Floyd Patterson would have survived. He did fight some very talented fighters early in his career, like Yvonne Durrell, beat him early, and Joey Maxim, he lost a decision to him as a light heavyweight. But Archie Moore, he fought that Pete Rademacher, which was his pro debut after the Olympics. He had 3 big fights with Ingmar Johansson. This was a guy that was like you said, was at the top. And one thing I'll add, with the troubled youth thing, this kid wouldn't even talk, wouldn't speak to anyone until he was when he was sent upstate, and befriended someone that hooked him up with Cus D'Amato. And Cus D'Amato was more than a great trainer. Cus D'Amato was a good manager, and he learned early on, just like we saw with Mike Tyson, of how to maneuver and move Floyd Patterson in a way where he would capture the world heavyweight title, in which he did. As a matter of fact, we're critical of the other Floyd Mayweather, for ducking opponents and waiting for the right time to fight him. Well, that's exactly what Cus D'Amato and Floyd Patterson did with Sonny Liston. Sonny Liston was a guy that was a number 1 contender for a while, and Floyd Patterson kind of avoided him until he couldn't hide no mo, and we all know what happened there. He lost the fight. An interesting thing, after he lost that fight, because so many people wanted to see Floyd Patterson destroy the bad guy, it was good versus evil, was he was so embarrassed, Alex, that he left the arena in a disguise, which always amazed me. How much pride does a fighter have when he doesn't want to be seen after losing a fight? That's something that is long gone, because now a fighter loses a fight, and generally, they're back to normal very quickly afterwards.
Yeah, he was ashamed. He of all the heavyweight champions, he was perhaps one of the most sensitive. Actually, he said once, "You can hit me, and I won't think much of it, but you can say something and hurt me very much." He, as you said, he was sent to a home for boys with emotional troubles, an institution. When he was 11, his mother had him committed, and he ran away a lot. He was a bit a loner. He used to sleep on the streets some nights. He said his friends were the rats. He slept in this one particular alley behind High Street. But of course that changed when he found boxing and Cus D'Amato. He learned studied and as well as trained his body. So you really have this this great sort of Athenian story, where you have both the body and mind and the emotional being improved. But you're right. He still had that, tremendous shame when he lost, that he would wear a disguise. The thing that was interesting, and I think that's very, very different from Floyd Patterson, from the other Floyd Mayweather of today, is, as you said, Cus D'Amato had no interest in him fighting Sonny Liston because he knew he'd get destroyed. But Floyd was like, no, I want Sonny Liston. That's the number one contender. So that would be like Floyd Mayweather calling out Paul Williams at the time, like the most dangerous opponent, which of course he would never do. So you got to give credit to Floyd Patterson for that. Even though he did, it was like walking to the electric chair. He got absolutely pummeled. That was Liston, at probably some of Liston's, those might be two of Liston's best performances. He crushed Patterson in the first round, and then when he fought him the second, he actually had a rematch, and he went 4 seconds longer.
Right. Here's the thing. When you look at Floyd Patterson, he started boxing in 1952. He became a champion, in less than 10 years after that. And by the time he lost the title, it was almost 10 years to the day of when he started his career. When he lost his title to Sonny Liston in September of '62, he lost his title. But the thing is, and as much as, I was a big Sonny Liston fan, so, as much as he demolished Floyd Patterson continued on for another 10 years. He did have a 2-year layoff after 1968, but this was a guy that continued on. And he was demolished by Sonny Liston. He did get another shot at a world heavyweight title when he fought in the heavyweight tournament in 1968 against Jimmy Ellis and lost that one. But for the most part, he was a fighter. And I always tell this story about me meeting Floyd Patterson for the first time. As everyone, I'm sure you'll be able to tell him in a minute, but he ended up living in New Paltz, and he had a gym there. And one time, at that time, I had my first business. I was in a contracting business, and I happened to have been doing a job over on that side of the river. I lived on the other side, and I was in the New Paltz, like Ace Hardware store. And I was looking for a part or whatever we needed, and me and a couple of my guys were there, and all of a sudden, who do I see? I see Floyd Patterson, right? And I'm going, Floyd Patterson, that's Floyd Patterson, right? And he's holding, the funny part of the story was, he's holding, a wheelbarrow wheel?
Yeah.
All right. There's two kinds of wheelbarrow wheels. One is the kind that you put air in, right? And the other was that on a cheaper, smaller wheelbarrow, it's kind of like a hard plastic wheel with a white rim, and it's kind of solid.
Like a solid wheel.
Yeah, it's like a solid wheel, right? Floyd Patterson, it walks up to us while we're talking to the guy, and we're like, oh, hey, Floyd, hey, how are you? And he was real nice. And he goes, hey, I sorry to bother you guys, but I just need a new tire. And he holds up one of those plastic white rim wheelbarrow reels, and he separated the hard plastic from the rim. And we're all looking at him, and he goes, I need to get a new one of these tires. And the guy in the thing goes, Floyd, you took that apart? And he says, oh, man, this is a pain in the ass to get apart. And he goes, yeah, well, we sell the whole thing. You don't have to take them apart. And Floyd's like, oh, no wonder. What do you expect from a fighter, And we all laughed. And actually, that's what got me into the management end, because right after that, I brought my fighter to his gym, and his name was Tony Corrado, and I'll never forget it. Watching Floyd Patterson, I know it's not a great, greatest thing you had to be there. One of those stories, but separating a hard plastic tire from a metal rim, I don't know how that guy did it, Alex.
That must have been, well, that shows you the determination.
Yeah.
to stick at it and
That's right.
get through it.
I wonder what kind of training he had to do to do that. But anyway, he did fight.
One thing we didn't mention, I forgot to mention, was of course, the Ingemar Johansson fights. That was when he won the heavyweight title when Marciano retired. It was actually kind of interesting. He fought Archie Moore, who was the top contender, the two of them, and it was the heavyweight championship between two men that weighed less than 190 pounds. Floyd weighed 182 and a quarter, Moore weighed 187 and 3/4. But of course, Patterson won. It's a really good fight. He stops him in the fifth.
Yeah, and Archie Moore only had 188 fights under his belt at that. He was a rookie.
Yep, a rookie, exactly. And so anyway, he fights Ingemar Johansson, who was from Sweden, and they had a great matchup together. Style-wise, they just matched up very well. They became tremendous rivals. They had 3 fights together. The first one, Johansson knocked Floyd out, and it's a really exciting fight. I think the second one might have been Fight of the Year. One of them I thought was Fight of the Year, but I guess it's not listed here in BoxRec. He actually, Floyd was at the time the first one to, I think it was the first one to regain the heavyweight title. I meant to double check that.
Yes, he was. He was the first one to regain it.
Yeah, so he went into almost like a monastic training up in Canada for the Johansson rematch, and when he did knock him out in that fight, they both were able to knock each other down quite a bit. Floyd, that was one of the things about Floyd that you could say is that maybe he was a little chinny, didn't have the greatest, well, chinny's not right, but he didn't have the greatest chin in the world. In that second fight, he was absolutely determined. He pummels Johansson, and he knocks him out. And you could actually see on the video that Johansson's foot is twitching when he gets stopped. Patterson, the sensitive guy that he is, he never wanted to see someone move so bad. At that point, he was very terrified that he permanently hurt him.
Didn't he rush over to him in that fight? Wasn't that the fight he rushed
over?
Yeah,
you do. At one point, you actually do see him like crouching down, like kneeling. He was a very religious man. He very rarely missed mass, and that's another thing where I guess it's kind of fun. I think you did this on purpose, Billy. Say to compare him to the other Floyd. He's the exact opposite. He's humble. One of the things he said, I didn't like being the center of attention. I prefer being with the people looking at someone else.
Yeah, and the other Floyd, well, not so much. But but he did fight after the Ingemar Johansson fights. And by the way, the first fight, when Floyd was knocked out in the third round, Johansson was undefeated. Obviously, in the rematch, he was still undefeated. And Floyd won. They had the rubber match. Floyd won that one. Then he fought Tom McNeely, who was way better than his son. And he stopped him. And that was leading up to the Sonny Liston fights. We all know, we talked about that. He lost both of those. Now, he did climb back up the ladder, fighting and beating Eddie Machin, George Chuvalo. He lost to Ali when Ali was still coming up in 1965. This was prior to his exile. Then he fought Henry Cooper and a couple of fights with Jerry Quarry in which they didn't. Those were probably the 3 worst fights of his career. He fought Jerry Quarry in 67, got a draw, lost a majority decision in 67 at the end of the year, and then he lost. And how he got into that tournament with a draw and a loss, he lost to Jimmy Ellis, took 2 years off, and then started to climb back up again. Winning some fights against, not so great opposition until he stepped in with Oscar Bonavena, who he won, and he was right back in the mix again, Alex. And his very last fight was a rematch against Ali, who at this point had lost to Joe Frazier and was 38-1 and was holding on to the NABF title. And this was an important fight for both Ali and Floyd Patterson, in which it didn't end too well for Floyd.
Yeah, Floyd, I mean, that's the thing about him is that he has a tremendous amount of names, Hall of Fame names on his record. However, his record with them, unfortunately, is not winning. It's a losing record with them. He has the 2 fights with Ali, as you said. That was the final fight of his career. He gets stopped in 7 rounds. At this point, he had a really bad back. So that bobbing, weaving style was difficult to do with the pain in his lower back. Same kind of thing happened to Mike Tyson. You wonder if maybe there's something in that style that the weaving. Maybe it is hard on your back or something as you go along. But he fought Ali, Joey Maxim, Sonny Liston, Archie Moore, Ingemar Johansson. That's 5 Hall of Famers. He was 0-2 versus Ali, 0-1 against Joey Maxim, 0-2, both by stoppage against Liston, both by stoppage also against Ali. 1-0 versus Archie Moore, and 2-1 versus Ingemar Johansson. So a losing record, but damn respectable considering the names there. And there's so many guys that he fought also, like Jerry Corey, Bonavena, Eddie Machin, Ivan Durrell, guys like that who are right on the cusp of Hall of Fame.
He was successful after his boxing career too, Alex. He was the New York State Athletic Commissioner for a while, and he also trained his son, Tracy Harris Patterson, who ended up screwing him. He also trained Razor Ruddock for a while. I mean, he was successful. He had his gym in New Paltz, and until he got sick, pretty much, right?
Yeah, that's right. He eventually died at 71 of Alzheimer's and prostate cancer. But yeah, a good man, and like you said, New York State Athletic Commissioner. And a good action heavyweight, threw a lot of punches, speedy punches, punches and bunches, combos, good combos, and was on TV a lot. This was the 50s and 60s. So boxing was big on TV. You had the Gillette fights and stuff like that.
Plus, he was a likable guy, Alex. Everybody kind of liked him after he turned his life around with Customato. He was a likable guy, good-looking guy.
Yeah, it was a great story.
Yeah. But tell us how he did in title bout.
Okay, well, unfortunately, and this is one of the knocks on him. Excuse me. Although BoxRec has him ranked 6th all time. I forgot to double-check Ibro. I don't think he's up that high. The problem for him today is we've got monsters at the heavyweight title. In terms of size, he would just be a little wee man against them. So the first thing, I put him in against the beast, the current beast of the heavyweight champion, the guy I think is the best, Anthony Joshua. The first time they fight, Floyd Patterson wins by knockout, TKO in 8 rounds, stops him at 2 minutes and 35 seconds. When they fight 100 times, Patterson dominates. 74 victories, 26 defeats. He stops the monster Anthony Joshua 61 times. Joshua had 24 KOs in his 26 wins. Find that a little hard to believe.
Me too. Me too. I definitely do. Only because of the size difference. I mean, this guy, Floyd Patterson weighed like what Anthony Joshua's leg must weigh. I mean, I don't. You know what? This is where title bout maintains respect for their elders.
Exactly, and I think that's important, that the game should be sort of weighted that way. But I think with one thing I did do though, and maybe I shouldn't have, is in the game they rank him at light heavyweight. I changed that to heavyweight because I think that's unfair. He wasn't a light heavyweight. He was briefly, but he was a heavyweight champion. Yeah, he was small, but they don't have Marciano ranked at light heavyweight. So I changed him to a heavyweight. So, anyway. Then against Deontay Wilder, the first time he fights, he knocks out Deontay Wilder in 9 rounds, 2 minutes and 56 seconds. Patterson dominates. He wins 71 victories, 29 defeats. He stopped Wilder 67 times. Wilder had 26 KOs in his 29 victories. Against Luis Ortiz, he really dominates him. 82 victories, 17 defeats, 1 draw. He stopped him 30 times. Oh, I'm sorry. When they fought the first time, again, Patterson wins by TKO in 11, 2 minutes and 8 seconds. And of Ortiz's 17 wins, he had 14 wins by knockout. And I think this is the most legit stat because I think they both have big enough careers to work on. I put him in against Vlad Klitschko. The first time they fight, I don't know if I buy this. Patterson stops Klitschko in 4 rounds, TKO 4, 2 minutes and 21 seconds. When they fight 100 times, Klitschko beats him, dominates rather. Patterson wins only 36, loses 58, and they drew 6 times. Patterson scored 27 knockouts. In Vlad's 58 victories, he scored 39 KOs. I thought that might see, because what I do is I put them in prime, prime Hall of Fame. I mean, prime blast from the past fighter and prime fighter of today. So, if you think prime Floyd Patterson, he would do pretty well against a lot of today's guys. But I don't think he knocks any of them out. The size is too much.
What do you got, Amazon Prime on the mind or what? I mean, everybody's so
Prime.
It's Prime Week, and don't forget Shark Week's coming up too. But anyway, no, I find that a little strange, honestly, only because of the old saying, a good big man will beat a good small man. But nonetheless, Floyd Patterson was a great fighter. And
one thing, if I could just interject for 1 second, I'm a little surprised. I thought he was in there, but I'm looking at Ibro's all-time heavyweight list, and I don't see him. He's not in the top 20. Bob Fitzsimmons is better than him. And this was done in March 2005, and he's not even in the honorable, the just missing the cut. So, I don't know. Ibro, as of 2005, didn't even think of him as a top 20 heavyweight.
Maybe they put him at light heavyweight.
Okay, I'll check that. What's it called? Bert Sugar had him 6th in that book. BoxRec had him 6th in that book. I didn't get a chance to check the Bert Sugar book.
Well, while you look for the light heavyweight, because I'm running out of time, let me just say this. Floyd Patterson...
he's not in there.
He's not in there. Huh, that's right. Well, he was ranked in 1998. The Ring magazine had him ranked as the 21st greatest heavyweight of all time. He was won 1954 Boxing Writers Association Award, was the Fighter of the Year in the Ring magazine in 1956 and 1960. Was inducted into the Ring Boxing Hall of Fame in 1976. He was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 1991. He was a former world heavyweight champion. Floyd Patterson, our blast from the past today, he had a total of 64 fights in his career, 419 rounds. His record, 55 wins, 40 by knockout, 8 losses in which he was stopped 5 times, and he had 1 draw. Alex, great job as usual. And we'd love to have you come back on, if you can, tomorrow to talk about the circus, more commonly known as Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, if you have some time.
The farce. Yes, I would be happy to. One thing I do want to say is you got to check out this movie I went to see last night, Billy C. You'd like it. It's called Baby Driver. It's got amazing car chases, great music, some pretty good-looking babes.
I'm in.
Really good movie.
I'm in. That's all. You just sold me. Cars and great-looking babes. I'm in. If it's a Sin City
robbery, gunplay.
Oh yeah. If it's a Sin City type movie, I'll go right now. So
I like it. It's in color.
There you go. Good deal, Alex. Great job. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Take care.
That's Alex Pierpaoli. You can catch him on Wednesdays and then some with our blast from the past. And then some. I got to take a break. I'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could join us. And speaking of joining us, back with me now is my man Sal Rocky Senecola. And Sal, I got some emails to read. Let's see what we got here. First one is from Jesse. He says, hey, Billy C. and Sal, I saw the Conor versus Floyd press conference. I saw and heard a big crown for Conor. Do you think boxing fans don't care about this fight, or is it that Conor has that many fans? I pretty much see a bigger crowd for Conor in Toronto, New York, and in London. I see boxing community not really caring for this event. Well, I agree with that statement, Sal.
100%.
I think that the majority of the people that are going to be looking for this fight and buying this fight will be MMA fans. What's your quick thoughts?
My quick thoughts. I never had
quick thoughts.
Thought.
Quick.
Okay, listen. Larry Hazzard was 100% correct. I think MMA needs us more than boxing needs us 100%. And that's why there's so much going on with the marketing right now. They realize this, and I think MMA fans are going to be the majority of who really buys this fight.
So he says, I can't wait for the fights in Inglewood between Joe Smith Jr. and Barrera, Murara against Burchell, and Corrales versus Castellanos. Are you guys going to watch these fights? Definitely I'm going to watch these fights. I love these three. We're looking forward to it. We'll be breaking them down and talking about them tomorrow and Friday, so make sure you don't miss those shows. He says, do you expect Robbie Davies Jr. to beat Michelle Cyril Watka? Junior welterweight, I mean, Robbie Davies Jr., his father fought, it was Robbie Davies Sr. He's 27 years old. He's ranked number 27 in the world. He's 15-0 with 11 knockouts. Michelle Cyril Watka is number 32 in the world. He's 29 years old. He's 18-1 with 6 knockouts. I think this is an evenly matched fight. I haven't had a chance to really break it down, so let's leave it at that. I think it's an evenly matched fight. Thanks for the email. Your boy, Raheem, Sal. Raheem.
All right, Raheem. How you doing, pal?
A message, email for you, or for both of us, but I know you absolutely love Raheem. And I
love everybody.
He says, hey, Billy C., it's me, Raheem. He says, I read about Floyd's tax problems, and I think he's right about how the media is not reporting everything. He thinks it's a distraction for his fight against McGregor, and I hope that he pays what he needs to in his taxes to focus on breaking the Rocky Marciano record. This fight is going to be great. My father thinks I shouldn't even buy it because he thinks that the fight's not a real fight, but I think he's old school and thinks different. I also think, lastly, that sports media has a lot of fake news, like President Trump says about the media. I just think that Floyd's dealing with a lot of fake news, but gives him motivation to break Marciano's record. Raheem, I think you should listen to your dad a little more.
Father.
I think you should listen to your pops.
Well.
But let me tell you something, and I said it earlier in the show, Raheem, so hopefully you heard. You know, this whole thing about Floyd and the record, Marciano. Sal, it only is significant for the heavyweights. I get it that a lot of the young fans are buying into it, but the truth of the matter is Floyd, give him credit for being so maneuverable with his career and sitting on an undefeated record at 40 years old right now. I give him credit for that and, of course, making all the money he did. But as far as that record, that was substantial for a heavyweight. The closest guy coming to breaking that, in my opinion, was Larry Holmes. And there won't be another guy that should get the recognition about breaking that record unless he's in the heavyweight division. What's your thoughts?
You're 100% correct. I mean, that's the whole facade about this thing. I mean, there are a dozen of fighters that surpassed 49-0 in the lighter divisions before they did take on a defeat. But the significant value of the record of 49 wins, 0 defeats with 43 knockouts is that Rocky Marciano was a heavyweight champion of the world. No other heavyweight in the history, which was one of the most coveted championship belts to ever have in the history of mankind. It was looked upon as that, has ever done that. So for Rocky Marciano to amass a ring record as a heavyweight champion of 49 wins, 0 defeats with 43 KOs is spectacular, and no other heavyweight champion has ever done that in the past, certainly not the present, and we'll see what happens in the future. But no way, shape, in hell, as I said, is Floyd Mayweather in that category as far as the heavyweight championships. And there's a dozen fighters that have gone past 49-0 with the lighter divisions before they did take on a defeat. So that's where Floyd should be comparing himself right there. But again, he's a genius when it comes to marketing himself and doing this, so I got to give him credit. And he could pull the wool over everyone's eyes.
And like we both said, Raheem, listen to your daddy. And one last email. This one's from Joel. He says, hey, Billy C. and Sal, did you get a chance to watch the Mayweather-McGregor press conference? I thought it was somewhat entertaining. I was curious, who did you and think Sal won the War of Words yesterday? I thought Conor definitely seemed very confident, while Mayweather kept repeating his words and walking away from the mic, only to walk back and say something like he was thinking of something to say. What do you think of the spectacle yesterday overall? Well, it was a spectacle. It was a great decision. And it's funny that Joel's a young guy, so he's thinking like a young guy, of course. And I wonder, I read that email, Sal, and I'm saying to myself, is that what the younger generation looks at? They look at these who won the War of Words. Is that like a battle? Are they getting credit for winning? The War of Words mean nothing. I don't believe anything. I'm going to do this. Oh, I'm going to do that. Oh, it's going to be toe-to-toe. No, it's not going to be toe-to-toe. Floyd's not going toe-to-toe. The only way
unless they get pedicures together.
That's right, unless they get pedicures. If the only way it's going to be...
the only way Floyd's going toe-to-toe with anybody.
Right. If they're sitting in a pedicure.
Side-by-side getting pedicures.
But the thing is toe-to-toe may happen when McGregor can't even lift his hands from fatigue and Floyd goes in for the kill.
Yes.
But it's not going to be a toe-to-toe fight. It's just not, right?
No, not from the get-go, that's for sure. Unless like I said, let's not discount the fact that if Conor McGregor is going to run through a barrage of punches or just try to trap Floyd in a corner from the start of the bell and just pound away.
That's what he's going to do. That's exactly what he's going to do.
That's what he's got to do.
Right.
There's no style. There's nothing here. I saw maybe it was part of the hype. Maybe I saw they had on the internet a couple weeks ago Conor McGregor in a boxing ring with his sparring partner who was trying to emulate a style like Floyd, and This guy was picking McGregor apart, popping him with any jab he wanted to, leading him with a right hand, doing this, I mean, it was a spectacle. It was. I said, yeah, this guy's a boxer. Wow.
Yeah. Well, and then you got the whole performance enhancing drug thing going on. Floyd obviously he only gets tested with the less reliable way, and they're forcing McGregor the full blown way. And of course they're going to let well, that's Floyd. They're going to let Floyd. They're going to let Floyd do. They're going to let him do his injections and all that stuff. But anyway, on this day, and listen. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Some great fights this weekend, which we'll start to break down tomorrow. I mean, a whole list of them, meaningful fights that we should be talking about instead of this charade. But
I know. I'm looking forward to that.
And we'll have a lot to discuss after the fights. But on this day, July 12th, in 1948, Ike Williams knocks out Bo Jack in the 6th round to retain the world lightweight title. Took place in Philadelphia. On this day in 1950, Jake LaMotta wins a 15-round decision over Tiberio Mitrio to retain the world middleweight title. Took place at Madison Square Garden in New York City. On this day in 1986, Evander Holyfield wins a 15-round decision over Dwight Muhammad Quaid to win the WBA World Cruiserweight title, and that took place in Atlantic City. On this day in 1987, Lupe Aquino wins a 12-round decision over Dwayne Thomas to win the WBC World Junior Middleweight title. Took place in France. That fight took place in France. And on this day in 1985, Barry Michael, was he a singer? Oh, no. Barry Michael wins a 15. Right. He was fighting I Ain't Got Short People, right? He was fighting. Barry Michael wins a 15-round decision over Lester Ellis to win the IBF World Junior Lightweight title. And that took place in the land down under in Australia. Listen. Like Sal and I said, we got a lot of stuff to talk about tomorrow and Friday. We're going to get Alex to come on and give us his thoughts about the charade. We'll probably even make Dax come on and give us his thoughts. We'll be talking about these big fights that are scheduled for Friday and Saturday. A lot of fights on TV that you guys can watch. So, we had a slow week last week. This weekend will be much busier in terms of great fights on TV. So make sure you tune in tomorrow morning. Same bat time. Stop making faces. They can't see it. I know.
Okay.
You're rude. I got to take 2. Tune in tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, ciao, baby.